Hi everyone, I'm Dawn. Welcome to my channel. Thank you for visiting with me today. So I'm actually doing a voiceover because I have a lot of notes, and rather than me just looking down on my notes a lot, because I'm forgetful and I leave things out and then I have to follow up later with more notes. So I figured rather than do that, I will just do a voiceover, some images, just some irrelevant, not important images. And I hope you stick around and enjoy this video, and please learn from it. I'm trying to be as clear as possible, and this is a topic that really frustrates me. So thank you for joining me, and let's just get started. So this is about the not all men mentality. And I want to start by saying, yes, I know that anyone, male or female, can be a victim of SADV and harassment. This video is not intended to make anyone feel excluded or any group feel left out, but it is intended to address the female experience and how it's minimized by the term not all men. I'm in no way implying that men only hurt women, and I'm not implying that women don't ever hurt people. I'm not implying that. I'm just speaking specifically on the topic of the not all men mentality. And that's where the female experience comes in. While it is true that not all men commit violence against women, some do. Many do. And it's a significant amount that because of those men, not all men is the wrong thing to say. But you're right, it's not all men. Not all men respect women. Not all men don't assault women. And not all men respect boundaries. Not all men keep their hands to themselves. When people, and I say people because women say this also, when people say not all men, they're shifting responsibility to women. By saying not all men, you're saying women should trust every man until they SA us. And then we'll know which ones can't be trusted. Saying not all men is the male version of I'm not like other girls, except when you find out the pick-me girl is no different, she likely won't assault you. I say likely because it's possible she will, but probable she won't. When a man says not all men and it turns out he's one of the bad ones, the discovery is far more traumatic and is highly likely to result in an assault. When a male says, I'm not like that, how are women supposed to know that? It's not like you're going to be honest and say, hey, you know what, I'm an artist. And a lot of men who are the type of man that would do that don't believe that they are. A lot of men don't believe what they've done is SA. And again, the burden is put on women. We're expected to trust every man and ignore our instincts. And when something happens, it's the woman's fault for not knowing he wasn't a good guy. And you may think it's unfair that women distrust men as a gender, but do you think women having to carry their keys like a weapon is fair? Do you think it's fair that women have to watch what they wear, make sure they park in a well-lit area, avoid parking garages, lock their car doors as soon as they're inside their car, and avoid going out alone at night? Do you think women having to be on high alert at all times is fair? Do you think it's fair that women have to make sure all their doors and windows are locked at all times? Do you think it's fair that a woman can't have that extra drink or can't look away from her drink for a second with fear that someone may put something in it? When saying not all men, again, you are shifting responsibility away from men who harm women and putting it all on women. You're also trying to stifle women or shut them up. By saying not all men, you're telling women to be fearful of independence and make sure they have a man to protect them. Saying not all men is dismissive. And men, this should piss you off. Not at women, but at the men that have put you on the defensive, to the men that do these terrible things, and they think it's okay. Like, you have men that are attacking women, and most of them are acquaintances, so they think it's okay. They think it's acceptable. And this should piss the good guys off. So instead of getting defensive with women who are discussing their challenges that they have to face because of their fears of men, instead of getting defensive towards them, get defensive towards the justice system that doesn't protect women the way it should, the men that are doing these things, and the men that just joke about these things. There's always an opportunity to speak up for women. So instead of telling women, not all men, be an ally. If you really are that good guy, hold men accountable. The world needs to change their attitude towards women. We've come a long way, but women are still expected to prove they didn't want it and they weren't asking for it. When someone gets their car stolen, nobody asks them if they wanted their car stolen. And it should be the same thing for their right to say no being stolen from them. And yes, women know not all men are violent. You don't have to tell us that. We're not children. But enough are to make us feel unsafe in a world we have just as much right to be a part of and to feel safe in. You don't need to tell us not all men. We know that it's not all men. It just serves to be defensive when you do that, and people on the defense are not listening. They're just preparing their next line of defense. Women aren't talking about you if you aren't one of those men. We aren't talking about you if you're a good guy. The conversation isn't about you and your fragile ego. It's about the men that are a danger. Saying not all men does not make women feel safe. We're not all of a sudden realizing, hark, not all men, and a man is here to tell us not all men. Praise be. Thank you, kind sir, for saying not all men. We can lay our fears to rest. It may not be all men, but all women have to live in a world where enough men are a danger to them that we need to be suspicious of all men until we feel safe. We have to navigate this world that seems to think we're deserving of the treatment we get. And every female, I promise you, every female has faced some sort of harassment. A lot of females, most females, have or will face an assault of some sort, even if it's just being touched in an inappropriate way. And most women that experience it will experience it more than once. And men saying not all men and I'm a good guy does little to convince us that you are in fact a good guy. And ladies, beware of men that get defensive and say not all men, because some of them are getting defensive because they know that there's something to it, because they feel guilty or are trying to hide something. Good guys don't need to tell people they're good. Saying not all men is telling women it's okay to let their guard down. Unfortunately, that's never okay, because we know not all men are out to hurt us, but not all men are decent humans. And there's enough bad guys out there that we can't ever let our guard down. Ever. So, you think it's unfair that we don't automatically trust you? We think it's unfair that it's men that made us this way. We think it's unfair that we have to be viewed as bitches simply because we're trying to stay safe. So again, if you're not one of those men that make us feel this way, be an ally to us instead of getting on the defensive when we're complaining about the things we have to deal with on the day-to-day. That's all. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this. Again, I'm sorry about the voiceover. It just makes it easier for me when I have a lot of notes. I had like 5 pages of notes, but I did cut it down a little bit. But thank you so much, and I will talk to everyone later. Bye.